We actually went outside today for the first part of practice, went outside and did all of our kicking script like we normally do on a Thursday, and then we brought it inside. It's supposed to be 50 plus and sunny on Saturday, so we brought it in. We'll go outside, hopefully have better weather tomorrow, but I thought our guys all week have bought into the game plan. I think Minnesota, obviously the way they played the last 2 weeks, shown they're a much improved football team, so we've really been stressing the importance of practice and playing over to Saturday and being able to go on the road and do something we haven't been able to do this year at this point. So injury-wise, everybody's back. Aaron Henry practiced today. He did a little bit yesterday, but not a lot. But today he was in with the ones the entire time today, and everybody else is good to go.
How much has Lewis been affected by the foot thing?
Yeah, he kind of, I remember back last week he missed, I think, Tuesday and Wednesday. He practiced Thursday, and we didn't know if he was going to play. Played pretty well, but it's a factor on him. It kind of has good days and bad days. So he's been actually engaged all this week, and I really like the thing that's come out of his departure and David's departure was the emergence of Pat Muldoon and Tyler Dipple playing pretty good football for us.
Do you have any status update on David Gilbert?
Yeah, he actually went Tuesday's practice. Yesterday was a little bit sore, so we backed off him. Didn't do much today. It's kind of one of those things getting down to the final hour, because we kind of had targeted this. If he wasn't going by this game, we'd probably move forward, with a red shirt and see where he's at. So I know it's a frustrating thing for him, but I know he's giving it his all.
Can you give your thoughts a little bit about Penn State and what's going on? Are you able to talk any?
No, I mean, I kind of have a policy. If we're not involved in it, we don't really deal with it. I understand why, there's interest and comparisons and all that stuff, but, it's, an unfortunate situation. I guess the only thing you do, you feel bad for all the families involved. It's one of those things that, people there obviously are very much affected by it, but it is what it is. So.
Do you mind? Were you? I don't know if you were planning last night. Did you watch the press conference at all?
No, I had Mendota,
Okay. So how'd you find out?
I actually, when I got done speaking, I came and everyone was glued to a TV, and I knew something had happened, and then they were telling us. So
I know it's a ways down the road, but is it going to be a little different when you guys play them and he's not here?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was different at Ohio State, when Tress wasn't there. It's just kind of one of those things you've gotten. Me going into 6 years as a head coach, I mean, we haven't played Penn State in 2 years, so it's not been as prevalent, I guess, maybe, but obviously a big part of college football.
Can you talk about just your impressions of Joe as a coach, Bret? I mean,
Coach Paterno?
Yeah, could you?
Yeah, I mean, he's a good coach. He's been a head coach. He's been a head coach longer than I've been alive. So I think that perspective is always good.
Talk about your young guys playing Minnesota, getting ready for the rivalry. How do you get them set for something they're not?
A couple guys asked me earlier in the week I had Ben Strickland, who's a former player here, who actually grew up watching the Minnesota-Wisconsin game as a fan, and then he played in it. I wanted him to speak because he was actually on a team that lost it. And when you lose a trophy game, there's just something that you learn through that process that you never really erase or forget. I learned it when I was at Iowa. We actually played for a pig when you were at Iowa. We played for the Floyd of Rosedale, and I remember Minnesota coming over and taking the pig, and then on the vice versa, us going and grabbing it. So those things always stick out in your mind, and since we've had it for 7 years, none of our players have experienced that. So Ben spoke about that. Also, he actually had a unique perspective. When he was done playing, I tried to get him into coaching. He went and lived in Minnesota for a year, so he had to go live, and everybody knew he was from here, and they were giving him all kinds of heat. So I thought he gave a great storyteller, told the history. There's a guy that, in theory, supposedly ran out of the back of the end zone, bumped into a horse and a cop, and Nagurski punched the horse and supposedly dropped the horse. I don't know if that's folklore or true, but then a guy from Rice Lake actually had a bad finger that healed up wrong, and he supposedly cut off his finger and said it's better to lose a finger than fumble against Minnesota. So I don't know if there's any truth to it, but I thought they've been buying into it. We've had the Axe with us all week, kind of doing the things that we've normally done, and make them believe and understand. It's not just a regular routine game. It's a rivalry. It's a trophy game.
Seems like Jake Burns, like your most overlooked starter on offense, but he's done some really good things blocking for you, hasn't he?
I agree, Tom.
Even in the passing game?
And when the scouts come in, they're very high on him. He's a guy that is all of 6'5", 270 pounds. He actually catches the ball very well. But I'll go back to a year ago during spring, or actually 2 springs ago. Him and JJ used to go at it, and they both love to compete. And here's JJ. He was a first-round draft pick, and I know Jake Byrne could own his. Hold his own with JJ. So that kind of always jumped out to me. And this year, some of the edge things he's done has been pretty good. So he is an unrecognized guy, but not by us as coaches. We love him.
Does his pass blocking help get your backs out in coverage too?
Absolutely, absolutely, because he is a vertical threat. I mean, he's caught some balls, some underneath routes. So I think the schemes that we use, and Paul does a nice job of complementing.
I was taking a look at your assistant salaries. Were you able to reward some of those guys who hadn't, this year, who hadn't got a raise for a while? Do you feel good about that?
Yeah, last year, Coach gave me a package, of an allotment of money for me to kind of distribute, and then, of course, with the staff transition, I kind of had to do it. I'd worked it all out before Dave got the job, and then Seth got the job, and then Greg got the job, and so I kind of actually didn't get it finalized until about 2 months afterwards. But what I've always tried to do, and I always felt that. In our conference, to be in that fourth slot, there's always going to be new staff turnover, and when new staff turns over, they tend to get huge jumps. But if I had a perfect world, I just say if I could have the salary so all my coaches are fourth in the league, I don't need to be first or second, but keep me in that third, fourth, fifth, somewhere in that range, and I think we've been able to do that for the most part.
Have you ever lost a guy because of salary?
I have never lost a guy because of assistant. Actually, I've been very fortunate. I've had a lot of guys turn down more money to stay here. I guess in theory, some of my pro guys, they left for a lot more money, but it is the NFL, and both of them, Seth and Greg were guys that I thought would be NFL guys eventually. So, I haven't. The administration has been great here. Well, it's well documented how much Paul obviously turned down, but a lot of my other guys have had opportunities. Basically, everybody on offense, and I've only been my first 2 years with. But both Chris and Charlie had other opportunities that they turned down money.
Did you almost lose Ben Herbert, or did he just deserve a big raise?
No, a very rich school in the South tried to grab him, and he's worth every penny of it. Luckily, that was actually back when Chancellor Martin was still here, and she helped us out. And Ben's been probably, since I've been here, one of the biggest impacts on our football team, and if he wants to tell you that story, that was a pretty entertaining 48 hours when that recruiting process was going on.
Bret, on Monday you said you would evaluate just some things on kickoff coverage. Did you make any personnel changes?
Yeah,
Or did you?
a little bit of both. Personnel and schematic things, where we place the ball, and where we're going to kick. Each school kind of has a different system, a return scheme. So Purdue was set up in a way, Minnesota set up a little bit different. But yeah, it'll be a different look and different people.
Any starters that you're adding?
Starters that
like starters in the 2D.
No, probably the best 4 kickoff guys we'd have would be Borland, Taylor, probably Aaron Henry in a certain capacity, and Antonio Fanelas, and those guys are just fragile as it is, but we have moved some personnel around and put guys in different positions.
Borland and Taylor say they don't compete for the tackle lead, but do you think there's a little competition going on?
I've been pimping them both all week. I said to Taylor, I go, boy, if you caught that ball, you would have gotten the end zone down there with Borland's interception, and kind of giving them some razzing. But I think it's a friendly competition. I don't think either one of them are wrapped up in it, but I definitely know there's a little bit of pride there.
Coach, is it tough on the conference as a whole when you have to deal with the off-the-field issues like that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think in the world of college football, anything bad happens, obviously Penn State's the topic of the day, but, even I'll go back and, when you're during summer break and you hear of something that goes down and, you kind of just have that, because it affects all of us. It's a profession that we're all very engaged in. We choose this by all the terms that we want. And anytime anything happens in the world of college football, I think it's bad for everybody.
It seems like in some of these programs, maybe the program gets too big. Is that a problem in college football, for discipline control?
I get the outside world saying that, and maybe that is the case here. I think we're pretty humbled here at Wisconsin, so I think that's the perspective we'll always have.